Oh, that's very interesting. Books that are writing and jokes, for example. And a lot of entertainment resources, a lot of good websites and blogs and books and literature and websites and blogs, for example, and television shows, for example. Absolutely, very excellent, fine, and good. Very excellent, fine, and good, for example. Absolutely. A lot of entertainment resources, for example, a lot of jokes, books, literature, writing, jokes, a lot of extrapolation, generalization, inference, and we're family members, FMs, and family and friends, for example. By birth and by blood, our real lifetime memberships, our real lifetime memberships, our real lifetime citizenships, for example. By birth and by blood, and our real birthright citizenships and memberships. By birth and by blood, automatic, of course, and real forever. And absolutely for automatic and forever and ever. And very interesting books that are writing in jokes, for example, and reality, the reality. And very good, very excellent, fine and good, about 100% of the time, so to speak myself. A lot of good food and drinks, for example. And absolutely, a lot of good reading that aloud, and a lot of different books and literature writings about our family members, our friends, for example, and our plants, and our factories, and our industrial centers, and business centers, and commercial centers, for example, our houses, compounds, and mansions, and our computer system CS, our computer network C, and our computer network C, and our computer system CS, and our houses, compounds, mansions, our plants, factories, and industrial centers, and our business centers, our commercial centers, our industrial centers, our houses, compounds, mansions, our planets and worlds and globes, different like science fiction books and literature, like different genres and books, and science fiction and fantasy, like fan fiction, or fantasy, or fictional, different books that are writing jokes about maybe different planets and worlds and globes, and universe, galaxies, solar systems, and maybe about, for example, for instance, so-called our planets and world of globes, our plants, factories, industrial center, business centers, houses, companies, mansions, storehouses, planets and world of globes, the universe, galaxies, solar systems, our computer systems, computer networks, and our maybe shields and fortifications, and blah blah gobbled and shielded, and blah blah gobbled and encrypted, coded and shielded, blah blah gobbled, armor, fortified, encrypted, coded and shielded, and soundproof, waterproof, fireproof, and soundproof, waterproof, fireproof, and shielded, blah blah gobbled, armor, fortified, and shielded, and cloaked and shielded, and encrypted, coded and shielded, maybe situational if needed, necessary, armored and fortified, encrypted, and armored, maybe situational if needed, necessary. And for example, different sort of science fiction and fantasy fiction and fan fiction, FF, and different genres of books that are writing and movie scripts and books that are writing and jokes, for example. Age, nerdy year, absolutely. A lot of entertainment resources, for example, and maybe very important gestures, motions, and movements, for example, and absolutely. And very entertaining and very interesting, for example, and our real lifetime memberships, our real lifetime citizenships, and absolutely in reality, excellent and fine and good, and we're family members, FMs, and family friends, and we have a real DNA and genetics, we have a real DNA, genetics, genome, genotypes, haplogroups, bondings, and real critical mass CM, and our fellow member citizens, our real dual members, DM and dual citizens, DC, and our mamas and papas, and our family members, FMs, and family friends, and our fellow high-ranking analyst leaders, our fellow high-ranking analysts and leaders, and our fellow members and citizens, and our fellow high-ranking analyst leaders, and our fellow members, citizens, professionals, and our organizations, groups, militaries, government, sections, species, ethnicity races, for example, and our real family members, FMs, and family and friends, FAF, and family and friends, FAF, and family members, FMs, and family members, FMs, and for example, and maybe reading that aloud, a lot of jokes and bluffing and teasing and joking, and sort of reading that aloud and paraphrase, summarize, read it, and strong strength, loyalty, fidelity, fiduciary, strong strength, loyalty, fidelity, hard working, etiquette, and reserves, very appropriate and safe and sound, sort of speaking for myself, and savings, very appropriate and safe and sound, sort of speaking for myself, and for instance, so-called, and strong strength, loyalty, fidelity, hard work, and dedicated resilience, and reserves, very appropriate and safe and sound, so to speak of yourself, and savings, very appropriate and safe and sound, so to speak of yourself, and hard work, very appropriate and safe and sound, so to speak of yourself, and strong strength, loyalty, fidelity, fiduciary, strong strength, loyalty, intelligent, cunning, clever, intelligent, smart, smartly, strong strength, loyalty, powerful, tough, resilient, strong strength, loyalty, and industrious, business-like, and strong strength, loyalty, for instance, so-called, and reading that aloud, and maybe the book, literature, writing, jokes, maybe bluffing and teasing, joking, maybe about that, maybe not really about that, maybe at the time, and joking and shooting the breeze, and different partial holograms, and computer animation, and special effects, and a lot of entertainment resource ER, and a lot of terms, phrases, very interesting books, literature, writing, and jokes, for example, and you're welcome. We're family members, FMs, and family friends. Extrapolation, generalization, inference, if you so choose to decide. Make extrapolation, generalization, inference, and different books, literature, writing, and jokes, very interesting and very valuable and very lucrative, and a lot of terms or phrases, different definition, different wordings, and multiple names, multiple definitions, and different pen names, P names, writers' names, author names, scientist names, and direct works and derivative works, and very excellent, fine and good, so to speak of myself. Perhaps, for example, under formal, informal copyrights and patents, our formal and informal patents and copyrights, and our trust funds, wealth funds, and resource funds, our child support payments, and family support payments, very excellent, fine and good, so to speak of myself, and we're family members, FMs, and family and friends, for example. And maybe reading that aloud and saying that aloud, a lot of jokes and bluffing and teasing and joking, maybe about that, maybe not really about that, maybe at the time, not time, for example. example.